Counsel Capone. Counsel Della Sola.
Here.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Here.
Counsel DePiero.
Here.
Wrong one, hold on. Counsel Hanlon.
Here.
Counsel Mangan.
Here.
Counsel Matusky.
Here.
Counsel McKinnon. Counsel McLaughlin.
Here.
Counsel Napolitano. Counsel Simonelli.
Here.
Counsel DePiero.
Present.
10 members present, Mr. President.
Will the audience please join us in saluting the flag? Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we get started, Councilor Napolitano is just getting over the flu. He cannot be here tonight. And Mayor DiMaria also had an emergency root canal today, so he cannot be here. And Councilor McLaughlin?
Mr. President, I apologize. I tried to do this a second ago, but I'm going to ask my colleagues and friends if we can stand in a moment of silence for 3 individuals who we have lost this past week in the city of Everett. Tom Lucy, unfortunately, on Saturday evening. Eric Danenberg, former DPW employee, and John Breznowski. If we could stand in a moment of silence for the 3 of those gentlemen.
Clerk, please read the calendar.
Item number 1, Mr. President, is a public hearing on an ordinance to all parties interested in the favorable recommendation from the Planning Board on an ordinance for new Section 32 inclusionary zoning.
Motion to open the public hearing?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. This is now a public hearing. Is there anyone in favor of the petition? Anyone in favor? Anyone in favor? I'm going to ask 3 times if there's anyone opposed. Is there anybody opposed? Is there anybody opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Councilor Capone?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my understanding that there are further amendments to this particular piece. So with that in mind, I would recommend that we refer this to a committee of the whole.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.
Make a motion to open public participation?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Public participation is now open. Is there anybody in the audience?
I don't have anybody in the sign-in sheet, so if there's anybody in the audience.
Is there anybody that would like to speak to us about any matter? Nobody?
Make a
Okay.
motion to close public participation?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next order of business, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 2, Mr. President, is an order sponsored by Anthony DePiero, who is president, an order regarding the confirmation of Everett Police Lieutenant Paul Hamilton to the rank of captain.
Favorable action.
Second
on the
motion.
order.
Motion made and seconded. I believe we need a roll call vote, correct? Roll call vote, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Della Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
You have been confirmed. Congratulations.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Lieutenant Paul Hamilton,
I, Lieutenant Paul Hamilton,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent upon me
duties incumbent upon me
as a captain for the Everett Police Department,
Captain of the Everett Police Department,
according to the best of my abilities
according to the best of my
and
ability
understanding,
and understanding,
agreeably to the rules,
agreeable to the rules,
regulations,
regulations,
ordinances, and charter
ordinances, and charter
of the City of Everett.
of the City of Everett.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will bear true faith and
that I will
allegiance
bear true faith and
to the
allegiance
Commonwealth of
to the
Massachusetts,
Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
will support the Constitution and
support
laws
the Constitution and laws
of the Commonwealth.
of the Commonwealth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly
that I
swear
will bear true faith and allegiance
bear true faith and allegiance
to the United States of
to the
America,
United States of America,
will support the Constitution of
support
the
the
United
Constitution
States.
of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
We'll stay off the meeting. We'll take the time out and do the time.
Next order of business, Mr. Clerk?
I'll take my pen, by accident. Item number 3, Mr. President, is an order sponsored by Anthony DePiero as president, an order regarding the promotion of Sergeant Scott Stahlbaum to the rank of lieutenant in the Everett Police Department.
Favorable action on the order.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, Mr. Clerk?
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Delasola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
You have been confirmed. Congratulations.
I know, you don't expect him to take it. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Sergeant Scott Stahlbaum,
I, Sergeant Scott Stahlbaum,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that will faithfully and impartially
faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as a lieutenant for the Everett Police
as a
Department,
lieutenant for the Everett Police Department,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
agreeably to the rules,
agreeably to the rules,
regulations,
regulations,
ordinances,
ordinances,
and charter
and charter
of the City of Everett.
of the City of Everett.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly
that I
swear
will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
and will support the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth.
I will support the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the United States of America,
to the United States of America.
will support the Constitution of the United States.
I will support the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Please just sign this for me. One's mine, one's yours.
Before we read the next item, I just want the families of the officers to know to stick around for a little bit. We're going to take a recess when everyone's sworn in and take some photos. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 4. Item number 4 is an order regarding the confirmation of Everett Police Officer Michael Woodford to the rank of sergeant.
Second motion.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Delasola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes. Congratulations.
10
Mr.
yeas,
Clerk.
0 nays, Mr. President. Okay, please raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Officer Michael Woodford,
I, Officer Michael Woodford,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and
all
perform
the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as a sergeant
as a sergeant
for the Everett Police
for the
Department,
Everett Police Department,
agreeably,
agreeably,
according to the best of my abilities
according to the best of my abilities
and understanding,
and understanding,
agreeably to the rules,
agreeably to the rules,
regulations,
regulations,
ordinances, and charter
ordinances, and
of the
charter
City of Everett.
of the City of Everett.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and
to the
allegiance
Commonwealth of
to the
Massachusetts
Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and will support the laws and Constitution of the Commonwealth.
and will support the laws and Constitution of the Commonwealth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly
that I
swear
will bear true faith and
that
allegiance
I bear true faith and
to
allegiance
the
to
United States of
the
America,
United States of America.
will support the Constitution of the United
Will
States.
support the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Here, come in. Thank you.
Motion for a
Counsel
5-minute
McLaughlin.
recess?
Mr. President, before we do that, I would just like to say that at this trying time in our country, in the history of our city, we could not find 3 better gentlemen to promote tonight than these 3 gentlemen behind me. I've seen them work hand in hand daily to put their lives on the line to better this community, and I could not be prouder tonight to have voted for all 3 of these appointments and wish them the best of luck in the future.
I agree with you. Thank you.
Make a motion for 5-minute recess?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. 5-minute recess.
Sure.
Like,
If
the
the
families
families
would
would
be-
please come forward. We will have the pinning ceremony. Okay, Chief.
meeting will now come back to order.
No, these are brand new. In the budget. Not in As long as you don't think it, a whole lot of questions, you know the ways it is. Yeah, that's up to you guys. No, that's what we want to stop. See, once has a question, it's not repeating. We provide this, I think, with, there's not a lot of them. We provide you with a list, and you answer some. I love it.
Please read the next item of business, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 5, Mr. President, is an order sponsored by Councilor Anthony DePiero as president, an order transferring $600,000 to... In order transferring $600,000 to fund CIP projects. We have a communication from His Honor the Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, hereby request following amounts total $600,000 be transferred to each department listed below to fund the various capital improvement plan projects. This appropriation request ties to the CIP adopted at the 6/13/16 meeting. This will fund the following projects: police equipment, smart meters, $400,000; DPW cemetery design construction, $200,000. I recommend your favorable passage of this order. Respectfully submitted, Carlo Di Maria, Junior Mayor.
Mr. Chairman.
Counselor DeFlorio.
Can we lay these over for 2 weeks? And in the meantime, if any councils have any questions, they can give it in writing to the auditor, and they can get the answer.
Do we have a second? Motion made and seconded. Is that a roll call, Mr. Clerk?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Next item.
Item number 6, Mr. President, is it's an order sponsored by Council Anthony DePiero as president, an order transferring $75,000 from CIP stabilization to Everett Police Department Technology Cruisers account. Accompanying communication from His Honor the Mayor, I hereby request the amount of $75,000 be transferred from CIP stabilization account to the Police Department Technology Cruisers account. This will fund iPads, technology needed for police cruisers. I recommend your favorable passage of this order. Respectfully submitted, Carlo Di Maria, Junior Mayor.
Councilor McLaughlin?
Can I ask for Mr. Demus to appear before us, please?
No.
If you have questions, I would request that you give them to him and lay it over and
Okay,
bring
so
them
I'm
to the
going to
next meeting.
refer it to committee then.
Okay, that's fine.
Make a motion that we refer
If
this to
that's
Ways
the
and Means
will.
Committee.
Is there a second?
In regards to, these were explained to us during the budget hearing. So, we already had these in committees during the budget hearing. They were already in committees. That's why I referred it for 2 weeks from now. But if anybody has any questions, they're welcome to ask them. All they have to do is give it in writing to Mr. Demus, and we'll have the answer in 2 weeks.
There is a motion on the,
So,
is there a
but it's-
second?
I mean, it's fine if you want to send it to committee.
Motion made and seconded. Counselor Hanlon?
We have Rule 13B says transfer of funds, no debate, should be referred right away to Ways and Means. That's Rule 13B if anybody wants to look at it.
We do have one motion before us already that I believe we have to take. All those in favor to vote, refer to Ways and Means? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Me. Aye.
Ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Clerk?
Item number 7 is an order sponsored by Anthony DePiero, President, order accepting a donation from Frederick Capasso and Sons to the Everett Police Department donation account.
Counselor Mangan?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just actually, on this particular piece, the next couple of pieces are all donations, so if it's possible, could we collectively put 7, 8, 9, and 10 together in a favorable recommendation?
Second
and,
motion.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it.
As stated, item number 7 is a $100 donation from Frederick Capasso and Sons to the Everett Police Department's donation account. Number 8 is a $75 $750 donation from Schnitzer Steel Industries to the Human Services donation account. Item number 9 is a $100 donation to Prowling Library Crenane Fund from Francis Hogan. Catherine McNeil, $150 to the Powell Library Crenane Fund. Catherine Conway, $200 to the Powell Library gift account. And Lori Butterworth, $55,084.94 to the L. Butterworth Library gift account. I think there's one more. Number 10 is a $300 donation from Stewart's Pub Incorporated to support the fire aid victims.
Could you repeat that motion, Counselor DeFlorio?
Favorable action on the order and a letter of thanks be sent.
Second motion.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
It's in order, roll call.
Roll call, I'm sorry.
Counselor Capone.
Yes.
Counselor Della Sola.
Yes.
Counselor DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon.
Yes.
Counselor Mangan.
Yes.
Counselor Matusky.
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Simonelli.
Yes.
Counselor DePiero.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
Please take items 11 through 30 collectively.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. 11 to 30.
Okay.
All the licenses.
You take a deep breath. Item number 11 is second-class motor dealer license, Affordable Auto, 83 Vine Street. Item number 12 is a first-class motor dealer license from Boston Freightliner Incorporated. Item number 13 is second-class motor dealer from Parkway Motor Sales at 2034 Revere Beach Parkway. 14 is second-class motor dealer from H&F Auto Sales, DBA Mega Auto. Item number 15, second-class motor dealer license, Vigor Diesel. 16 is petition for second-class motor dealer license, New England Body Works. 17 is second-class motor dealer license from D&G Towing. 18 is renewal of second-class motor dealer license, Auto Gallery of Everett. 19 is renewal from Crimson Auto Sales LLC. Item number 20, third-class motor dealer license from Second Street Iron and Metal Company. These are all renewals, by the way. Now, item number 21, renewal of second-class motor dealer license from Stadium Auto Sales. 22 is second-class motor dealer license, Caruso Automotive. 23 is second-class motor dealer license from Malden Auto Body of Everett. 24, second-class motor dealer's license for Glendale Gas and Service. 25, renewal of an auto mechanical repair license for Glendale Gas and Service. 26, petition auto mechanical repair license, Broadway Gas and Service. 27, I have to turn the page. 27 is a renewal of a second-class motor dealer license, Broadway Gas and Service. 28, petition for renewal of an auto repair license of BFW Incorporated. that's Ferry Street, the old Spencer's. 29 is renewal of a second-class motor dealer license from BFW Incorporated. And item number 30, second-class motor dealer license from Parkway Auto Sales.
Counselor Hanlon? All
Yes.
papers in order? Yes, they are.
Favorable action on the orders?
Motion made and seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Del Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin. Yes. Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky. Yes. 10 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
Next item. Counselor Del Sola?
I'd like to suspend Rule 17 and take 38 on the agenda.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Ayes have it. What item was that, Counselor?
38.
38, Mr. Clerk.
38.
Item number 38 is a resolution sponsored by Counsel Richard Della Sola Jr. and Counsel Michael McLaughlin. Resolution requesting an update on the Eversource project on Main Street.
Gentlemen, please come up and introduce yourselves. Flip that button up. There you go.
My name is Bill Zamparelli. I'm the Community Relations Representative with Eversource Electric, and I wanted to introduce our project team first. Pat Nyhan is our project manager for the underground transmission project that we're going to speak about tonight. Mike Sweeney is our manager of conduit for Eversource. Mike Sutton is our consultant for traffic management, and he will be making a brief presentation on the project to explain what the nature of the project is. And also, we have John Kiersey from WA Chester, who is our consultant on underground transmission lines. What brings us here tonight is we had a transmission line that traverses the Everett community from Main Street to Lower Broadway, and it actually runs all the way out to the Mystic Station, but part of that line has faulted, and we find ourselves in a situation where we need to replace the portion of that line that needs to be replaced. That process requires a fairly sophisticated process of freezing a line that contains dielectric fluid that cools the line, and then we would cut the cable that has faulted, pull out the old cable, and pull in a new cable. What we've done is we've prepared a presentation tonight to define the scope of the project and to kind of introduce you to the situation, and then I thought what we'd do is try to field some questions that you might have. But what I'd ask is maybe Mike Sutton, our traffic engineer, to begin the presentation.
Good evening, everybody.
Counselor Del Sola?
As a spot, can I jump in here for a second? There's a lot going to be going on with this project for 9 weeks on Main Street. So this is more for informational purpose. It's probably going to go to a new utility committee. That's going to be in a couple of weeks. But we're doing it just for informational.
Yeah, what I would suggest is the presentation tonight, and if there are a handful of questions, we can do it another night
Sure.
at a scheduled committee meeting.
Okay. I
Thank
just want to make sure, because this is going to start, it is already started, just so the neighborhood knows what's going on, and then we'll get deep into it on the committee.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Good evening. I'm Mike Sutton with Van Ashagen Bruslin consultants out of Watertown, Mass. Been retained by Eversource to assist them with the permitting and traffic management portion of this underline. I'm doing okay this morning. It's Monday. Underground transmission line, 349Y, which is located here in Everett. Just to kind of roll through some things, I know Bill touched on a couple of things already. As part of this presentation, we're going to review the project need in the area, the overall schedule, the scope of what we're going to do and why, so that you can understand why we need to occupy the areas that we need to and for the durations. and then a summary by Bill of sort of our community outreach activities to date and going forward from this meeting, and of course, any questions that you guys have at the end. So the project area here is bounded by Broadway and Bowden to the south, and approximately 265 Main Street, basically the intersection of Main and Winthrop, to the north. You can see a push pin. See if I can get a hand up here, see if that'll help you guys. We got the northernmost work zone is the manhole located just in front of, I believe it's Panda Tool, on Main Street. The southernmost manhole located, that's not good. Located down here, basically at the intersection, right at the bus stop, actually, at Broadway and Bowden. We have begun some exploratory work. There is a transition. This pipe leaves the manhole at Broadway and Bowden in a 10-inch pipe and transitions to an 8-inch for the remainder of the line. So there is a neck-down transition that needed to be located within the public way so that we could establish where that was and how we'd manage traffic through construction. I'll get into that in a couple of minutes. And as Bill had mentioned, the reason why we're here is that the line itself has a fault. They actually did excavate, and working with the city on an emergency permit, the intersection of Oaks and Main. They did excavate a pit, and they believe that they've ascertained that the fault occurred at approximately that location. And the red you see here is the continuous cable. That cable is continuous from the manhole at Broadway all the way to the manhole at Main Street. So overall schedule, like I said, the line fault occurred sometime in October of last year. They've excavated and identified the issue, as I had mentioned a second ago, over by Oak Street. That was in November, December, and then the decision was made that they needed to replace the line in its entirety due to the fault that occurred. So they ordered the materials that they need, which is the line and splice kits that they will need to complete this work. They need to replace the entire line, like I said, between manhole to manhole, and product is scheduled to be here beginning of end of January, beginning of February, I believe, is what we're currently seeing right now. Again, we had to identify a pipe size transition location. That was for the 10-inch to 8-inch. That was identified and located actually this past Friday, and they've been working to get that pit shored up and sort of winterized with some recessed plates, which I'll show you in a minute. Again, we're here tonight meeting with city officials to discuss sort of next steps on this project. We did meet with DPW, and I'll get into that in a few minutes, and engineering last week. We'll schedule right now is to formalize the temporary traffic control plans sometime before the end of the month and begin the line replacement work in earnest during February and March of 2017 as ISO is hot on Eversource's heels to get this line back into service. So as I talked about, the first thing we needed to do was to establish the location of that transition joint. On the left, you can see the pit that was established on Friday with the recessed plates. That's the location that we'll need to work. The transition, which you see the picture of, the 10 inches up on the top part, the 8-inch obviously on the bottom, you can see it necking down. That location needed to be exposed so that they could access it during construction and replacement of this line. So the traffic management plan you see up on top there illustrates the footprint that will be needed to continue to work on that transition pit, and basically just keeping a single lane coming out of the rotary at 99 and 16, heading south onto Broadway, approaching Bowden. And again, right now this work zone is slated for nighttime operations. I believe we've been doing this at night. We did that on Friday, or did we do it during the day?
We did it at night.
It was nighttime.
Nights.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. So right now, obviously, this would never occur during peak periods, off-peak traffic periods, but we're trying to keep it tonight because it's a longer shift and traffic's a lot lower. So in order to complete this effort, we need to establish 2 long-term, we're going to call them fixed work zones at each of those manhole locations. Both of them are equally difficult. The one on Main Street, which I'll talk about in a second, is actually the harder of the two due to just constraints in the general area. But down at Broadway and Bowden, what we're looking to do is, through the shifting of all the traffic, all the markings would be modified between the end of the median, where the transition joint was located, over here to the north, and then down to the south, just past Bowden to tie back in to shift traffic over and create a full-time work area up against the building side either side of Bowden. The work zone to the south would be to excavate the existing line, which is in the existing sidewalk at that location, expose the line, wrap them with coils, and also house a nitrogen tanker so that they can put a freeze on the line at that point to keep the fluid from transferring beyond that point on the system as they drain between the two manholes to remove the line. The work zone to the north, again, the manhole, as I had mentioned, is on the sidewalk. It's actually at the bus stop at that location. This work zone would be enclosed with drums and fence, the idea being occupying with equipment so that we can access the manhole. The bus stop would be coordinated with MBTA, would probably be either eliminated temporarily or relocated further to the south. Right now, we're proposing to put a temporary asphalt sidewalk on the outside of the tanker area so pedestrians can get by that area, get to the crosswalk and wheelchair ramps at the existing signal at Bowden to get to the other side. But obviously, because we have to occupy the area at the bus stop to the north, it's going to be very problematic to be able to maintain pedestrian access up that side. So we're proposing to do right now is to close that sidewalk at that location, send folks across the street, up past Bow Street, and unfortunately to come back, they would have to go up to the Rotary to make crossings via the existing crosswalks and sidewalks that are there. There appear to be no real business destinations past that location of Bowden, and there's also plenty of internal access for both pedestrians and vehicles available within the Bowden site, also tying into Wynn on the other end. And we don't propose to close any driveways or anything other than what the setup that you see here. Also, I should mention that the existing signal at this location will not be modified in any way. We can shift everything over and have visibility for the signal heads, and we will not need to modify timings because we're keeping the same number of lanes. The phasing and timing will remain the same at this particular location. The northernmost area that I talked about is at approximately 265 Main Street. Panda Tool, I believe, is this building right here on the corner of KK Terrace and Main Street. The idea here is to, I believe we're restricting 2 or 3 parking spots, I think is where we're at now, to shift traffic over in 2 10-foot lanes to get by this area. The issue with this particular location, if I can find my mouse, is that the manholes, and I know it's tough to see, it's kind of washed out, but the manholes are actually right in the center of that. Bear with me, I'm sorry. Right in the center of this work area. So to get to them, we're going to have a work zone on the south side, and again, we'd have to do another freeze pit and tanker to the north side of that work area. You can see that would be why the barrier is shown there, to be able to sort of secure that tanker area from vehicular intrusion. But the idea would be to maintain a lane in each direction at all times through this area during construction. And again, no modifications to the signals at Appleton are required as part of this work. Oh, and I should mention, pedestrian access on both sides of the road will remain intact in this particular location. The work here is actually centered in the roadway, so there won't be any change to pedestrian activity in this corridor. So, sort of starting things off, you know, it's January now. We've located the transition joint that was completed, as I said, on Friday. They are working on establishing an access pit at the transition location with road plates, which I showed you a picture of earlier. We've already started reaching out to different stakeholders to gain some information, and we're looking to establish the work areas at both ends to install the line freeze and nitrogen tanks by the end of January is the current schedule. In February, the plan would be to remove fluid from the line within the fixed work areas. That would occur during February of 17. That will take approximately a week. I should mention that establishing the work areas and putting the freeze on in the previous slide will also take a week. Using the temporary traffic control that access the transition pit, and they're actually going to remove the line from the transition pit that's in Broadway itself, not from within the work zone. Just makes it easier because they can actually get to it right through that transition rather than pulling that line through that transition, which will cause a lot of friction and just make it more difficult to remove the line in one piece. Then after that, that will take approximately a week to remove, and again, that would occur during off-peak traffic periods. Then they need to clean, inspect, and test the line, and that will take approximately another week to complete. They basically have to, for all intents and purposes, swab the inside of the line to clean all the old fluid out. Then they're gonna video it, make sure that it's solid, they don't have any other issues with the line itself. Then they will test the line, the integrity of the line itself, and then they will go and work toward installing the new line. Beginning probably the end of February, beginning of March, they'll install the new line from within those two fixed work areas that I talked about, between Bowden and the one up at 265 Main Street. That will take, again, approximately a week. Then they need to splice the cables within those manholes. They basically create clean rooms over those manholes and inside them so that they can splice the cables together to the existing cable that's there, and that will take approximately 2 weeks, round the clock, men working centered over those manholes within those fixed work areas. Then, once that's completed, they will refill the line and remove the freeze from within the fixed work zones again. That'll be another week within March. And restore fixed work areas to the previous condition. Right now, we're saying March, April, because a lot of this stuff sort of ends up weather dependent. Also, you know, final paving probably wouldn't occur until after the moratorium in April, once the weather warms up. Now I'm gonna let Bill kind of talk about community outreach.
Thank you, Mike. We did have a meeting on the 17th with Jerry Navarra, Julia Sofieri, Ernie Lavalier from the Water Department, and Sergeant Steve Bover from the Police Department to present what you're seeing tonight. This was prior to doing the test pit on Lower Broadway to understand where that transition joint was. What we're trying to do is to contact all of the abutters that would be affected in the immediate area. We will arrange for a flyer distribution prior to the beginning of our major construction on the two work sites. That will happen probably the end of this week, beginning of next week. We are also working with the public safety officials. We have been in touch with the police and fire to advise them what was going on. Chief Mazzy had indicated he was attending tonight, and this is the first chance he's really had to see this. We will work with him to address any police concerns. You know, we understand there's traffic concerns, and we're working to try to develop a sufficient traffic management plan that will ensure that the traffic moves freely through our work zones. I did want to take 1 minute to talk about the need for this project. I think it is very important that the council understand that this is a significant infrastructure for the electric distribution system, the transmission system. ISO New England, the independent system operator for New England, is critically dependent upon this line to put it back in service so that we would have enough capacity and redundant service in the event that something else failed. So, you know, we're working diligently to try to bring this back in line. We anticipated a 9-week window to try to accomplish all of this work, and we'll try to work with the city officials and all of the those that are affected to ensure that this happens as quickly and as least impactful on everybody as possible. You know, one of our commitments is to try to ensure that if there are concerns, there's a process for reaching us. You know, we will provide a hotline for the project, and if anybody has concerns, they can contact it. I don't know if we have a website set up for this at this point. If not, I will check into that and see if we can get a website up and running so that will be available. And we will work with the city. If there's a link on the city's website, we will provide a link to that website also. I guess what we wanted to do is assure you that we're here to try to work with you, to try to advise you what we're doing. We will try to do this in as expeditious manner as possible. and we very much appreciate your cooperation.
Thank you very much for the presentation, gentlemen. There actually is an item on the agenda tonight to create a utilities committee, but it's not established just yet. So hopefully that gets established this evening. And the counselors that have the piece, I'm going to let them speak on in a minute, but they're going to probably go through that way. But Counselor Hanlon?
It's 165. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
He knows. Yeah, we
John, you
we
would know that.
Counselor Delasola?
That was our error. We apologize.
So you guys know, the committee hopefully be established tonight, and we want to get a
Well,
meeting.
Counselor Delasola, I was just informed that it needs to be, the committee can't be established tonight, it needs to be one more meeting, so you can keep the peace.
Lay on the table for next meeting in 2 weeks. So that'll be all right with you, 2 weeks?
Sure.
So right now, your project is stopped, correct?
Well, right now, we are.
I don't want to ask any questions. I just want to make
Right.
sure we want to have a committee meeting before you start working on Main Street.
Well, I think what we were hoping to be able to do is to begin to set up these work zones. I don't know if that would be possible. We would greatly appreciate doing that because of the time is of the essence in this matter.
I just have a question to the president then. The committee's not together yet, so I know we can't ask questions, but
I'll let our assistant clerk answer that.
yeah, I don't
Could you
want
repeat the
to.
question? I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? I didn't hear your question.
If there's no committee meeting, yeah, established, we want to have a committee meeting, utility meeting, before we do any work on Main
So-
Street.
Any committee can do a committee of the whole. I mean, you could also, don't forget, just because that's not established, you still have committees that you could send it to, like a committee of the whole, the committee of business and development, even public service, public safety maybe. But you have other committees that you can utilize in the meantime. But that will be your
I
decision.
would refer this to public safety.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Those in favor? Anyone opposed? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, when that committee, if you would leave your contact information in the office next door.
Absolutely. And,
I'd appreciate that.
Do you know when the Committee on Public Safety would meet next?
We'll try to work it within your schedule as it's being planned, okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We appreciate all
Appreciate
your assistance.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
President, can we take items 31 and 32 collectively?
Do I have a second? Second. Motion made and seconded. All those in
Actually,
favor?
Mr. President?
Counselor Capone?
If you could, I'm going to have to relinquish myself on number 32. My wife is a trustee for Pope John. So I can, if they're going to take them collectively, I'll step out now, otherwise,
Okay, let's take item 31, Mr. Clerk.
And number 31 is a petition for a lodging house license renewal from Backpackers Hostel at 13 School Street.
Favorable?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote.
Counselor Capone?
Yes.
Counselor Delasola?
Yes,
Counselor DeFlorio?
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon?
Yes.
Counselor Mangan?
Yes.
Counselor Matusky? Counselor McKinnon?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin? Yes. Counselor Simonelli?
Yes.
Counselor DePiero?
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
the license has been renewed.
Mr.
Item
President,
number
I'm
30.
going to recuse myself on item number 32 as my wife is a trustee for
Thank
Pope
you.
John.
Item number 32, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 32 is a petition for renewal of a lodging house license from Pope John 23rd High School at 888 Broadway.
Favorable action?
Second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, Mr. Clerk.
Counselor Capone? Oh, that's right. Counselor Delasola?
yes,
Counselor DeFlorio?
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon?
Yes.
Counselor Mangan?
Yes.
Counselor Matusky? Yes. Counselor McKinnon?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
Counselor Simonelli?
Yes.
Counselor DePiero?
Yes,
9 yeas, 0 nays, Mr.
the
President.
license has been renewed. Next item of business, please.
Item number 34 is a communication regarding the resignation of Counselor
33.
Michael Mangan.
We skipped over 33, Mr. Clerk.
Okay. Oh, Dan's, I'm sorry. There's a petition for redemption center license for Dan's Redemption.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Capone?
Yes.
Counselor Delasola?
yes,
Counselor DeFlorio?
Yes.
Counselor Hanlon?
Yes.
Counselor Mangan?
Yes.
Counselor Matusky?
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon?
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin?
Yes.
Counselor Simonelli?
Yes.
Counselor DePiero?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays, Mr.
The
President.
petition has been granted. Next item.
And now it's a communication regarding the resignation of Counselor Michael Mangan. I have a communication to the Honorable City Council, Anthony DePiero, President. Please be informed that I am formally resigning my at-large council seat as of January 24th, 2017. I'll be stepping down to pursue some other goals. I'm very blessed to have served with some of my colleagues, whether on the council or on the Board of Aldermen, and I'm very thankful to the citizens of Everett. I'll never forget them for giving me the opportunity to serve. Sincerely yours, Councilor Michael J. Mangan.
Councilor Mangan.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, like I said, this is something that came about quick, but it's something that I believe is in the best interest long-term for me and my family. As many people know, I recently retired from the MBTA about a month ago, and so, unexpectedly too, but it just came about, and so I decided to pursue some other career goals and move forward in a different direction. So I decided it would be the best interest for me to step down, and I hope to will that Councilor Sani, who served up here for many years, will be able to come after me, and I look forward to seeing her, fill my shoes in a couple of weeks up here, so I wish her the best of luck. I just want to start off by thanking my wife, who's been so supportive of me the 16 years I've been involved in politics. We've had the ups, we've had the downs, and no matter what, she's always been there for me. Like I said, she's my rock. And my 3 children, Jessica, Kayla, and Brendan, who've always been there and very supportive of me. And we all know, the ones that are married here, and especially when you have children, it's not easy when you're going to go out and you spend many, many hours out there on the campaign trail, and you're taking it away from, your family commitments and so forth. But they've always allowed me to do this because I loved it, because I wanted to serve the citizens of Everett. And so I just want to say thank you, Laurie, for all your love and support. Thank you. Also, all my friends that have helped me throughout the years, whether they're in the audience here or at home watching on TV, people have been out there and pounding the pavement for me and really spoke on my behalf. I can never thank them enough, and it's one of the reasons that I'm sitting here in this seat tonight, so I'm eternally grateful. In the past, John Burley, Mike Matarazzo, Sergio Cornelio, Dennis Leonard, Colin Kelly, and Jeannie Cristiano have moved on to following different career paths. I'm just following them. I'm just going in a different direction and so forth. But they've all been very, very successful in moving on and serving the city and maybe in another capacity or doing something in the private sector. And I look to follow each of them that I respect immensely, that I look forward to, following them, following their footsteps. I'll continue to stay involved in this great city of ours, as I have coaching with Cal Ripken and Everett Girls Softball and the Youth Basketball League at the Rec Center, or Papuana Football, or, the Youth Commission years ago, the Elks, so many different great organizations here, the Masons. I'm going to continue to stay involved. I'm not leaving the city of Everett. This is going to be my home for the rest of my life, and I'll continue to stay involved, but like I said, in any way I can to be a positive influence in this city of Everett. And I just also want to touch on, there's been many issues that I've been involved with over the years and being involved, Mr. President. And, there's been so many issues, but the 2 most important to me, and one just came about this past year when I was honored when, then at the time, Council President Hanlon put me on the Opiate Addiction Committee with yourself, Council McKinnon, and Council McLaughlin. And we made some really great strides this year with funding and what we've done this year. And as we know, we're constantly losing people to opiate addiction, and to be part of that, knowing that there's going to be people in place now to maybe help curb, that epidemic that's going out there, and knowing that I was part of it is going to make me feel good that even if this was able to save one life going forward, I'm so glad I was part of it, and so glad I was part of, funding these positions. So for that, I say thank you. And then the WIN, being involved with the WIN, as we know, it's the biggest project ever in the history of the city. From day one, getting involved in it, and I remember going on many years ago, going on Greater Boston Show with Emily Rooney, and being on there with Alderman at the time, Alderman Van Kampen, when Steve Wynn, I think it was the day that Steve Wynn came to Everett, and he said, I want to do this. And day one, I was on board, and I said, where do I sign up? And I got involved with the one of the greatest organizations ever in the history of this city was the Everett United Organization. I met so many wonderful people there, and we came like a family, and we still are today. And we're able to put this truly amazing project in place that's going to be a catalyst for change in the city. And we're already seeing it now with house prices increasing and so forth. And it's just going to be a win-win situation for the whole city. And so I was glad I was really involved with it. But the jobs that are going to come out of this, and then other industries that come as a result of the Wynn Casino, you know, just knowing that someday down the road when we're all gone and somebody's raising their family because they're having a salary or a good career there and so forth, and be able to pay the rent or pay a mortgage and so forth, and be able to send their kids to college, I think was a great thing, because we all know people in the city of Everett needed jobs and good paying jobs. And so I was so glad to be part of this, and I look forward to be part of Everett United going forward. And I just want to thank Mayor DiMaria, Senator DiDomenico, Representative McGonigal, former Representative Wayne Matusky, now one of my colleagues on the council, Superintendent Forestier, and to you, my current and former colleagues here on the city council. I love you all. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Like I said, we might have agreed or disagreed, but as I told Councilor Capone at the beginning, like I said, what happens up here is business, but I always judge people, you know, when we're outside here, and every one of you have given me the ultimate respect of being a friend, and whether we've agreed or disagreed on any issue, you know, we've always been able to stay friends and so forth, so that I'm truly grateful. And then just finally, I just want to thank the citizens of Everett for, really, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be up here, and putting their faith and trust in me. So with that, I want to say thank you, and I look forward to many years to come, and look forward to watching your meetings, and, you know, if I have a concern, calling up one of my colleagues and asking them to take care of something. But thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Councilor Mangan. I know we're all going to miss you up here. Our friendship goes way, way beyond these chambers, and it always has. We've always shared a lot of the same ideas for the vision going forward in the city of Everett and what we would like to see down the line. I'm going to miss serving with you, but I know you're not going too far. And I want to invite Councilors McLaughlin and Della Sola up for a quick presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I ask you to join us as well. So, we're here tonight for a very unique experience that doesn't come across very often. That's the departure of one of our colleagues. But Mike Mangan is not only a colleague of mine, he's my dear friend. When you enter politics, you hope that you're going to leave the job you started in a better place than when you found it. And I couldn't say that that's more true when speaking about Mike Mangan. Mike Mangan, every day in the past 9 years that he has served this community, has served it with class, dignity, and caring. He cares about the people of Everett. He cares about the colleagues here in the chambers, and he cares about doing what's right for the people of Everett, not about doing what's right for himself. And for me, as a young member of the city council, I take great pride in looking up to a gentleman like Mike Mangan, because he's the type of leader that Everett needed at a very pivotal time in our community. And he stepped up to the plate as he spoke about some of the accomplishments that he's had. But you have a foundation like Wynn Resorts coming into your community, you need backbones to be able to bring that project to fruition. And Mayor DiMaria, being the leader he was in that project, needed partners in the city council to be able to join efforts from day one. Mike Mangan, amongst others, was that leader from day one to be able to bring what's happening on Lower Broadway and across the city of Everett to fruition. 2015, as many know, I got sick. I could not have thought of or imagined somebody being as loyal to me as Mike Mangan was. That Mike Mangan was and became my brother. He spent every day for almost 6 months in a hospital next to my bed, helping me every step of the way, not only just personally, politically, every aspect of my life I owe to Mike Mangan because of what he did for me. Nobody else could have imagined what he could do for me. So I'd like to turn this over to my colleagues, but Mike, thank you for your service. Thank you for your friendship. I love you dearly and look forward to our continuing friendship and support together.
Thank you. I'm going to continue the kind words of my colleague here. I remember meeting Mike a while back when I ran in Ward 3, and he gave me a lot of advice. And we went in the same race, but he helped me out very dearly. When we got to run at large, we were in the same race as people were saying, you're going against each other. They couldn't understand why you're having the same race against someone else, and you're both going out working together. Well, you see all our colleagues here tonight, one person, it's very hard to change the city. With a team that we have here, we all work together, and that's how it has to be. It's a great team here. Mike was a great colleague with me, phenomenal friend, family, we're always together. So I just want to thank you for being a colleague and being my friend. Thank you, pal.
Michael, if you please step forward, we have a citation for you. Be it hereby known to all that the City Council, in his honor the Mayor, hereby offer his sincerest congratulations to Councilor Michael J. Mangan in recognition of your 9 years of dedicated service to the City of Everett as an alderman, a common councilor, and now a city councilor. The entire city government extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued good fortune, given this 23rd day of January 2017. Thank you, Michael, for everything. And if Mrs. Mangan would like to step forward to take a picture, I know how much she loves photos. And Councilor Mangan's close friend, Tucker Fiorentino, if you'd like to come up as well.
We'll do one with the party up there.
Once the senator gives his presentation, if anyone else would like to say anything, please feel free to do so.
I want to be the first one to grab you.
Good evening, everyone. It's always great to be back here in the chamber where I have so many friends. And tonight I want to congratulate one of my closest friends. And as was said earlier, it's like a living eulogy for you, Mike. You're hearing all these good things tonight. So, right. So you can see how much you're loved right now. But Mike Mangan has been a true friend of mine for many, many years. Not only is he a great city councilor, he's a great father, a great husband, he's a great friend, and we, you know, there are a small percentage of people in this world that you say you want to be close to. You say that you want to have your family be close to. And Mike Mangan is one of those for me, for sure. And he is a person that just gives back. He doesn't ask for anything else, doesn't want a pat in the back, doesn't look for the accolades. He just wants to help those that need help the most. And that's a true sign of a good public servant who wants to give back and not expect anything in return. And when you think of Mike Mangan, that is the person that he is in this chamber, outside in the community, in his home, in his workplace. The Mike Mangan you see here is the Mike Mangan you see everywhere. And he's going to be missed in this chamber, no doubt, by all of you. And I know he's going to do great things in the future. A guy like him always ends up on top. So, Mike Mangan, we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Thank you for being a friend to myself and to my entire family. You've been right by our side every step of the way, and I can honestly say I would not be a state senator today if it wasn't for all the work that Mike Mangan has put into our journey along the way. So thank you very much for everything. Thank you, thank you. And I have a citation. You're going to have to put putting addition on your house for all these citations now, but this be it known, the Massachusetts State Senate hereby extends congratulations to Mike Mangan in recognition of your 9 years of dedicated service to the City of Everett as a City Councilor and an Alderman. I'm not going to read the rest of it. You know all these citations, but signed by myself and Senate President Stan Rosenberg. Congratulations. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Best of luck.
Councilor Matusky?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think I'll stand at, I just want to say a few words myself on behalf of Mike Mangan. Mr. President, I have served, we served the councilman in Ward 1 together. Complete gentleman. Anytime you had an issue, you discuss it with him. He was there to be honest and helpful. Very, very respectful. He's a dedicated family man. I respect that in him. And I'll give you 2 examples. In 2010, I was out of office, I think for the first time in 38 years or whatever it was. And he was on the housing board, the Everett Housing Board, one of the union representatives. There's only 4 members. So he said, Wayne, I'm going to be leaving because I got elected to the city council, and maybe you'd be interested in the position. But you'd have to call City Hall, and which I did, and I was appointed. And I think that really, it was because of you. Now, in 2013, there was a large field for state representative, and Councilman Mangan was a candidate. And it was March 5th, primary day. And it was one of the coldest elections that I've ever been involved with, and I didn't have very many poll workers. Nobody did. Nobody wanted to stand in the freezing cold, but I got a phone. My father said the phone's ringing, you better answer it. I had a bunch of people at the house, and it was Mike Mangan. I said, hi, Mike. He said, Wayne, you won. So every time he's called me, and he's a little old-fashioned, and I like that about him. Every time he's called me, I've had good luck. And I know that you're going to be successful. You're a gentleman, and I'm proud to have served with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor McKinnon?
It's been a privilege and honor to serve with Mike Mangan. I can remember the days of girls softball when we were teaching our 2 girls softball. All the way through that to now, where we're on the opioid crisis committee together. We did some good work there, and we're going to continue the good work, Mike. So it's not going to just stop now, and your input's always welcome with us as well. And I just want to say it was an honor and a privilege. Thank you, Mike.
Councilor DeFlorio?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to wish Mike good luck for whatever future. And I've known Mike for a long time. He was my neighbor for a long time. And before we even started in politics, all we did was fight. We disagreed, but we were always friends. So I wish you a lot of luck. Thank you, Mike.
Councilor Capone?
We can't have anyone being left out. Everyone wants to speak about Mike. He alluded to something that he said to me, not only this evening, but he said to me in the past, that we might not always agree on issues, but we never made it disagreeable. And any business that we had voted on the floor. Once we were done, we were done. Remain friends. He will be a big loss to this chamber and to the city, and I wish him well in his future endeavors.
Councilor Simonelli?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mike, the counselor, would just like to say that, you and him have had some battles in Ward 2 and out on the campaign trail, and unfortunately for him, you won both. But he will say, best of luck to you, and he will miss you in the future, and best of luck in your new endeavors.
Councilor Hanlon?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to say to Michael, thank you for being here. It starts another year for me, and I thought I was going to be sitting beside this guy for a long time, and here he is, the first meeting is on his way out. Is it me? Was it me, or is it something else?
I can't tell you that.
But anyway, I do appreciate, Mike and I go back a while too, and I appreciate all of that, but I'm going to make this very short so we can get down to the 8:10 as soon as possible. Thank you, Mike.
I make a motion to accept the communication, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second? Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
I'm not to advise the communication regarding legality of double poll ordinances. It's to the Everett City Council and City Solicitor calling me here from Michael Matarazzo, City Clerk. Council John Hanna has recently submitted revisions to the double poll ordinances, so-called, that were passed by the City Council on May 23, 2016, and subsequently signed by His Honor the Mayor. In preparing Councilor Hanlon's amendments to the existing ordinance, I became aware of some facts that unfortunately negate the effectiveness of both the existing ordinances and any attempt to further amend the same. On October 27, 2003, the Town of Bedford passed a bylaw that stated, in part, prompt removal of utility poles, and the pertinent part reads, consistently with the provisions of Mass General Law, an electric distribution company or telephone company engaging in the removal of an existing pole and installation of a new pole shall complete the transfer of wires or repairs and removal of the existing pole from the site within 90 days from the date of installation of the new pole, within 90 days from the effective date of this bylaw, which differs later. Violations of the terms of this bylaw provision shall be punishable by a penalty of $100 for each pole for each day of violation. And it goes on there, and it says, that bylaw was challenged by Boston Edison and others in Superior Court. And on August 12, 2004, the Superior Court declared invalid the town's bylaw that imposed fines on the owner of an existing utility pole for failure to remove the pole within the time provided, following the installation of a replacement pole. The court stated that although the statute contained no express legislative intent to forbid local activity regarding the double pole removal, the comprehensive nature of General Law 164 implied that the legislature intended to preempt municipalities from adopting bylaws on the subject. And because the bylaw had the practical effect of frustrating the fundamental state policy of ensuring uniform and efficient utility service to the public, the Town of Bedford appealed, and in 2004, the case of Boston Edison and Company and another versus the Town of Bedford, the Supreme Judicial Court affirmed the Superior Court's decision. With that said, it is my recommendation that the previously passed ordinances be repealed and that the regulations via ordinance be instituted that would positively affect the situation by using the authority granted to municipalities by Mass General Law 166, Section 25, which basically gives us, rather than read it, which basically gives us the rights regarding the installation of new poles. Perhaps using this expressed authority, the City Council could establish regulations that would require assurance or reporting requirements that include double poles, but not infringe upon the powers designated to state agencies by statute. Any attempt to achieve this end, however, should include a strict review by the city solicitor or outside counsel at the city solicitor's discretion. I know that's an awful lot, but...
Yeah, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman, if
Yes.
I could, just a comment on this. I worked an awful lot on these two ordinances, and I've read what Mike has, our city clerk has given to us, and I really don't agree with it now that I'm reading it in full. I think one of the things said that we had to have an ordinance which designated who can put these things up there. We've had that for years and years and years. I don't know if they took that into consideration. Plus the fact that this is a town that they were talking about, not a city. Towns have bylaws, we have ordinances, you know. And what they said is that the town didn't have an ordinance, which they can't make anyway. And their ordinances have to be approved by the Attorney General. I don't know if those, well, that their bylaw had been approved by the Attorney General, you know. And they said that they were gonna give a fine of $100. Now, if you notice that our section 1(8) ordinance says that they shall be fined in accordance, we always say in accordance with our ordinance of section 1(8). We don't mention an amount. And that amount can go up to $300. That's depending on a judge. A judge can decide whether he wants to make it 5 cents or $300. That would be up to a judge. So we don't really set the fine. So I'm not saying that Michael is right or wrong, but I'm saying I don't think I'm right or wrong either. And I will be further looking into this with our solicitor. You know, that's the only place that we can go. I just come back from the MMA meeting and talking to some lawyers there, not about this, but they said everything has got to be go through with a fine-tooth comb because, you know, you could be reading it and then have someone else read it and it sounds different. So I thank Mike for doing his due diligence on this, you know, which is important, but I will let you know that I'm going to further look into this also.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. Being that this is a communication, I think we have to accept it. Is there a motion out there?
Make a motion to accept the communication.
Second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President? Second motion.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item number 36 is a petition for a second-class motor dealer license at 353 3rd Street, as is item number 36. We'll try to get the present one in front of us. Well, they haven't been brought out to me. Yeah, they haven't been brought out from... So the first one is petition for a second-class motor dealer license from Joseph R. Camargo, DBA Car Lottery USA Inc., LLC, at 353 3rd Street. The second one is renewal of a second-class motor dealer license from Malcolm Lima, DBA Boston Auto Brokers, 353 3rd Street. We have a communication from the second party saying that they will relinquish their license.
Counselor DeFlorio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was in the Committee of Community and Business Development, so I think the first motion is to accept the committee report. And then I also have, I want to inform the council of what's going on with these two
Do we have a
licenses.
second to accept the
Second
committee
motion,
report?
accept the committee report.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
What happened is you should have a letter in writing. On item number 37, there's no action necessary. And on item 36, we recommend favorable recommendation.
Second, the favorable recommendation, Mr. President, on item number 36.
Motion made and seconded. I believe we need a roll call vote.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
Counsel Del Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel DePiero.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Matusky.
Yes.
Counsel McKinney.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin.
Did I say you?
Yes, I don't know.
Counsel Napolitano, Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
Counsel McLaughlin. Yes. 10 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
Mr. Chairman, can you explain to them, what do they have to come to get the license, at what point? Because we forgot to mention that in the committee.
Before we do that, folks, there's a few different microphones on, and it's causing some friction. So if you're not speaking, please leave it off. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, they come down on Wednesday?
Yes.
On Wednesday to get their license, right?
Wednesday afternoon time.
Wednesday afternoon to get your license. Thank you.
Second one, you,
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry about that. No
Counselor
action
Hanlon?
necessary is not a valid motion.
Right.
Either have to
Just,
vote yes or no. I vote that we do not issue the license on item 36.
refer back to sponsor.
Sponsor.
That's all. Refer back.
What's the motion?
Refer back to
Mine was
sponsor.
to refuse it.
Refer back to sponsor, there's no action on it.
Yeah.
I'll go with Counsel Hanlon, that was the first thing.
He's got a letter stating that he withdrew the license.
And there is no license.
There is no license, he withdrew it, there's nothing.
There's nothing there. His license expired December 31st.
There's a petition here. I'm making a motion not to grant it. If you don't want to listen to that, that's fine.
I'll second his motion.
That was the first motion, so we'll entertain that. Roll call vote, Mr. Clerk?
Counsel Capone.
No.
Counsel Del Solo.
No.
Counsel DeFlorio.
No.
Counsel DePiero.
No.
Counsel Mangan. Counsel
No.
Matusky. Counsel McKinnon.
No.
Counsel McLaughlin.
No.
Counsel Spinelli.
No.
Counsel Hanlon. 0 yeas, 10 nays, Mr. President.
It has failed. Next item?
Item number 39 is an ordinance sponsored by Council Peter A. Napolitano, an ordinance providing for animal care standards in the city of Everett. Mr. President, this needs to be laid over for 2 weeks. It needs to be published.
Mr. President, if also, I apologize for interrupting, but item 41 also, Council Napolitano is not here also, for him to speak on. I know he's sick, so
Yeah,
if
I
he
have
could.
something to say when we get to that point.
Okay.
But because, as the clerk said, this has not been in the newspaper and it has to be laid over, is
Right.
there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item?
Item number 40 is a resolution sponsored by Council Fred Capone, resolution regarding construction progress of Florence Street Park.
Councilor Capone?
Thank you, Mr. President. This has been something that's been ongoing. The residents in the area know it, the colleagues know it. You know, it's something that Councilor Matusky, Councilor Napolitano, and I have been trying to work on for a long time. I want to thank Tony Souza and Al Bagonzi for meeting me at the site recently, going over what's left to be done, the steps that are required. And just for a quick, brief overview to the council, we have some electrical connections, landscaping, and then there's some furniture that has to go out there. So the process is going to move quickly, is the hope. We have to wait for better weather. We're hoping that we're going to get a mild winter, and maybe we can get out there and get this done in April. But the hope is to have it done by the end of May. So I do appreciate their efforts, and they had some favorable things to say about the contractor as well, who's gone beyond and above some of the requirements of the specifications at his own cost. It's been frustrating for everyone because of the delay. Given the significance of this, we do want this set up so that when the kids are out of school, they'll have a park. It's been a couple of years. And part of the issue has been issues on our part as a city. There have been unforeseen circumstances in some of the contractors' parts. So we're all trying to move on it collectively. That said, I want to lay this over till our first week in May, at which time I hope I'm going to be referring this to sponsor for the final time.
Is that May, you said? May?
First meeting.
Motion made and seconded to refer this, lay it on the table till our first meeting in May. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Number 41 is a resolution sponsored by Council Peter Napolitano, a resolution regarding converting unusable commercial second and third floor spaces to
Lay on the
residential
table to the next meeting.
What I would recommend before that is, because this has been on the agenda for a while, is that refer it back to sponsor and that the sponsor be updated personally by Mr. Souza.
Make a motion to refer it back to sponsor.
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Number 42 is resolutions, is an ordinance, an order sponsored by Council Anthony DePiero as president, establishing a city council public utilities committee. Because this is a rule change, Mr. President, it must be laid over for a week, till our next meeting.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next
Item number 43 is an ordinance sponsored by Councilor Anthony DePiero, an ordinance regulating the speed limit in the city of Everett.
Is there a second? Motion made and
Second.
seconded.
On that,
Yes, Counselor.
why can't we just vote in favor of that?
As an ordinance, it would have to be laid over anyway.
Well,
And
can we
I
lay it
would
on the
like it-
table, or why send
I
that
would
to
like it to go
committee?
to committee in case anyone has anything to add to it or would like to tweak it, because I wrote the ordinance. and-
Because Boston just lowered their speed limit to 25. It doesn't seem like it has to go to committee to me, but
Part of the ordinance is that we can establish what's called safety zones and make those 20 miles per hour, but before we get into all that, I'd like it to go to
oh,
committee.
they can go down to 20?
In certain areas if we establish that.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a second on the motion? Motion made and seconded.
Legislative affairs.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Adjourned.
That's true.
City council